Hello, welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Friday in the Riv. And as we approach a long holiday weekend, I guess this is the official, I don't know if it's the official or unofficial kind of end of summer.
Right, it's the meteorological end of summer, as
Yeah.
the weathermen say. And
Yes.
this is an extra long weekend for the city of Fall River Public Schools because they started them on Wednesday. I guess they had them go yesterday, and they're getting today off so they can give them a 4-day weekend. Why start them on Wednesday if you're going to give them Friday off? Makes absolutely no sense. No sense whatsoever. But hey, this is why
Well,
Fall River schools are at the top of the list of crappy.
well, you're right. Yeah, but it's all about BS. This is now it's become the city of BS, and I don't know if you saw this, CJ. Somebody sent me this. I know people are talking about it. Let's see. I can't see anything with the light. 400 apartments eyed for Alden Street. So you know what most of those apartments are going to be. Remember, I went to that meeting, and Nelson went to that meeting in the Flint neighborhood talking about affordable housing and things like that. And Paulie, again, just keeps trying to push the rents up and push these people out. They don't care. As long as they're making money on a deal, brokering these deals, they don't care if these people ultimately go out of business. But it's crazy. And, I was sorting some of the volumes of stuff that we have because we do actually have things like this one. We all remember this one.
Yep.
Kuganokio.
Yep.
What did I come up with? I thought we should, since we're talking about their total disregard for the average people in Fall River. They don't care. They can't afford it. Who cares? And I came over this article that we had pulled. I think we talked about it on a show. It says, while economic development takes hold across many communities, residents, of the city of Chelsea, the epicenter of the pandemic, continue to experience acute housing and economic instability, exacerbated by the lack of affordable rental housing. In order to keep residents remain stably housed, communities like Chelsea need effective tools that promote the development of affordable housing opportunities. Gateway cities, which, by the way, I will remind you, we have that rather dubious title. Gateway city officials in recent communities, in a recent commentary piece, and Governor Maura Healey in her tax and spending plan are backing a state program known as HDIP, Housing Development Incentive Program, as a tool to create much needed affordable housing. Strikingly, as revealed in a new report from the Massachusetts Law Reform Institute, and what are they? The exact opposite is true. HDIP promotes the creation of market rate housing and, as designed, excludes projects where there are more than 20% of the housing are considered affordable. The results of the program are staggering. In the Massachusetts Law Reform Institute's report, reveals only 2% of units created through HDIP are affordable. Isn't that nice? And who does the HDIP plan help? All our rich friends. We all know how hard they fight for HDIP. We remember Adams House, don't we?
Yep.
Yeah, we got to make that baby, and I don't care where it is. There's no way that should be an HDIP zone, but they made it an HDIP home to help the developer. And now he's got 10 years worth of tax abatements and all kinds of freebies. And when that 10 years is over, they'll be looking for more. Again, the rich being taken care of by their political lackey politicians. And 400 units in one of the lowest income areas, if not the lowest income area in the city. I guess there's a contest between uh, the Fifth Street, Corky Row area, and the Flint. Always have been populated at three deckers and medium to low income people, or moderate at best income. So again, their their disregard of the regular people knows no bounds. All they do is Kuganokio keeps lying and promising the pie in the sky. And I pulled another quick article, and I'll let you comment on it. This stuff, because I know you want to comment. But to show you the pie in the sky, I'm going to read you an article, or at least a piece from March 23rd, 2019. What is it now? Isn't it 2023?
4 years.
Yeah, let me see. So, first, there will be grilled bratwurst and beer by the shore where you can watch the boats glide by. And someday, hot chocolate or Irish coffee by the skating rink that will be by the shore. The skaters will glide too. Both of those dreams are approaching reality on the city's waterfront. What a crock. And who did this? Who was involved in this? Lund. We all remember Lund, don't we, in the city council?
Yes, we do.
He had a very short stint in the city council, and all he did was take care of himself.
Like a water bill.
That's how he got his foothold on the waterfront. And then he got arrested for driving a boat drunk, and nothing happened to him because he's connected. And here he is now, one of the players. One of the players, like they all are. All they do is kill us with taxes and make themselves and all their friends rich. And, you know, these 400 units in the middle of the Flint that drive the rents that are already virtually out of reach. This guy he just wants to destroy this city. Because I'm going to tell you something. He's not staying in that Bobby townhouse as soon as he's no longer the mayor. He's out of here with a vapor trail coming out of his anal sphincter. I can guarantee you that. Because there were a lot of rumors flying around that the other half of his family doesn't even ever show up at that house. So that's the way it is. But they don't care. They're just going to keep building it because you know why? It's about them making money. They don't care if these developers go belly up later, like they did in many communities, i.e. Detroit. They've tried all this crap before. They've even tried it in Fall River before. You know, you're not going to get Newtonians to move down here because most of them work in Boston and they can commute from Newton into Boston fairly quickly. They can actually take the T because it's a local line. You're not traversing 50 or 60 miles with all kinds of stops in between like a milk run. It's pie in the sky, just like first there will be grilled bratwurst. I hate to tell you this. You definitely didn't write this for Fall River people because I'd say about 50% of the people in Fall River have never seen a bratwurst. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, CJ.
I think that's funny, bratwurst. You know, what do they think this is, Oktoberfest in Fall River?
Yeah, exactly.
That developer on the Flint property is out of Boston. He is a luxury developer. The market rate housing that's going to be there is classified as luxurious. It will have a pool. It will have, I guess, a dog park, parking. I mean, a community room, a gym. They're providing all the amenities there that you can possibly imagine. And I have to wonder, number one, everybody would want a pool. Don't get me wrong. Everyone would want a pool. But they say they have 80 years experience doing this type of property development and management. But have they ever done it in a city like Fall River? What are they going to do if all of a sudden this whole development falls flat on its face? Especially when people consider the fact that this is in also the center of Fall River's crime zones, because we have two major crime zones: the Flint, the South End, and Corky Row. There they are. Those are the because the South End and Corky Row are kind of together. But those are your major crime zones. And do you want to live in a major crime zone? Are these people coming from Boston going to want to live in a major crime zone? I'm not sure. I know I wouldn't. But hey, who the hell am I? I don't know anything. That's for sure. But to move off of the market rate housing, because I'm so sick and tired of hearing about market rate housing. Market rate housing, high rents are going to be good for Fall River. Remember that when you go to the polls, people. High rents are good for Fall River, so vote for Paul Coogan because he's about high rents. Today, the interest rate on student loans starts to accumulate again, with the first payment being due in October, based upon your lender. And some people are already saying, I'm not going to bother paying. What's it going to do to me? It's going to ruin your credit profile, number one. And you have other people saying, well, I made a decision that this was going to be forgiven, so I spent money based upon it being forgiven. Don't count your chickens before they're hatched. And some people said, I shouldn't have to pay my loans back. Let the government pay them. Why'd you take the loans out then? You wanted the education and you had to pay for it. You went to high-end schools and you want the government to pay for it now. I went to school. I went to several schools. Okay? I got several degrees. I generated several student loans and I paid them all off. How is that fair that the government pay off your student loan and not reimburse me for mine? I don't think that's fair at all. But, we live in an entitled community now. These Gen Zers are all entitled. We're entitled to money. We're entitled to not work. We're entitled for housing. We're entitled. We get free healthcare. We get free money. We get free, when's that going to end? It's got to end at some point because the taxpayers are paying for it. There's nothing free. So somebody's paying for it, and it's the taxpayers. And you can't keep saying, give me free, give me free, give me free, because it's not free. Somebody's paying for it.
Okay, well, I'm going to just segue back quickly to the pool and all the amenities. You can get those pools and amenities virtually in all the upscale communities around here. And so you think somebody who can afford a luxury apartment is going to take it, as you said, in a crime zone in a city that's economically depressed? They're crazy. Listen, what's going to happen to this developer? They've been in business for 80 years. This thing tanks. They're going to just write it off. They're going to write it off as a loss because they're not. They are multi millionaires. I'll bet you they've got billions of dollars in assets if they've got these units all over the place. So that's not even relevant. They're going to come down here. They got conned into coming to Fall River. And you know something? It's Kenny Fiolo's going to make all the money brokering all these deals. And that's all they care about, because you know what they're going to say when this thing falls flat on its face and this becomes Detroit, not Newton? They're going to go, oh, well, we thought it would work. But like Kenny will say, oh, I thought the carousel was going to save Fall River. We're going to have 500,000 tourists. Oh, I thought the battleship was going to save the city, and it didn't. And I thought all the things. Oh, now it's the corridor. Now it's this. Now it's that. All he's doing is pocketing the money, because guess what? He gets paid whether it succeeds or fails. And anybody that's buying into that has got some serious problems. But I've got to digress here about Kenny Fiola, because one of our loyal followers told us that our amoeba friend made some comment about we weren't so against Kenny Viola before. Well, you know, I don't know. Maybe he was still urinating in his diaper, or maybe he wasn't even born yet. But I'm going to tell you something. We've been we've been talking about Kenny Viola's performance since he began. We have been saying that he does not do the job forever. Probably 40 years ago, from Heritage State Park Board, when he said that the carousel was going to bring in 500,000 tourists. He has never delivered for this city. Look at it. Look at it. And he's fundamentally been in charge of economic development for 40 years, except that short stint where he got bounced. And what happened to him when he got bounced and he was left to his own devices without all the other political help that you get? And he's getting now. He was on the verge of bankruptcy. So I guess he doesn't really do a good job. You know, you may be able to get a job in the city of Fall River as a plumber if you can't fix plumbing. And you may be able to get a job as an electrician if you can't work on electrical circuits because you know somebody. And they'll hire 7 people to do it and maybe get 1 that can actually do it. But that's not the way it works in the real world. And as soon as Ken got stuck in a real world, he went down in flames. And we've been against him since the get-go. So, you know, this whole thing is ridiculous. And I just had to get that one in seat. I don't know if you want to comment about the amoebas comment, but I know you and I have been, you know, adamantly against his performance and said he does not deserve to be in charge of economic development in this community. He has never earned that right, because just look at Fall River. And he goes back, God, to the Viveris administration almost. And look at this city. You know, I'll ask you the question that was asked by Ronald Reagan when he ran against Jimmy Carter. But I'm going to change it a little bit. He said, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? And the answer to that was obviously no, because Jimmy Carter was the second worst president we've ever had behind the guy we got now for the economy. But I'll ask the people of Fall River who have been here like us for the whole ride, are you better off today than you were 40 years ago? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This city is a mess. I mean, look, granted, we had mills, but what happened? They abandoned the people of Fall River when the mills left, didn't train them to get new jobs, and they've ignored us ever since. And as CJ said at the beginning of the show, this is why we have to have a revolution. We have to get people to the polls to vote and vote these people out.
You know, even at the federal level, they're looking at putting in place term limits. Now, Massachusetts voters wanted term limits at one point, and the Women's League and the State House went to bat to court, and the court said that we must have a constitutional conference to change the Massachusetts Constitution so that we can have exactly what we want, which is term limits. Now, for a constitutional convention to occur, you need the House and the Senate twice to put the matter before the House and the Senate, and then put it before a constitutional convention, then put it to the voters. Are you going to get an incumbent state representative or state senator to support and sponsor a bill to start term limits? Not on your life. Not on your life. Don't expect it to happen, because it won't. And that's one of the things that happens. They go to court, and then the court rules that the people don't have a right to say anything. And that's what makes it bad for us. So.
No, well, you're right, and I just, like I said, I was pulling articles, and I got a great article by this this writer who was a political writer for 49 years. And it was his final column, and he was a political reporter, and he was fairly neutral most of the time. But he said a few brilliant things, and I also have a list of about 500 taxes that they've created that we never had before. But this piece by Charlie Reese from the Orlando Sentinel. It's 545 versus 300 million. Politicians are the only people in the world who create problems and then campaign against them. Very true. Have you ever wondered if both the Democrats and the Republicans are against deficits, why we have deficits? Have you ever wondered if all the politicians are against inflation and high taxes? Why do we have inflation and high taxes? You and I don't propose the federal budget. The president does. You and I don't have the constitutional authority to vote appropriations. The House of Representatives does. But he goes on and on. This is an amazing article. I may send it over to you so you can post it on our website, because this thing is one of the best pieces I have ever read by a man who has been in the game, was in the game for nearly 50 years, and has watched our political phonies that we get, these lifetime politicians, these lifetime ticks that just, they lie to you. That's all they do. It's pie in the sky. Bratwurst. That's it. That's the new word, bratwurst. We're going to watch them and watch the skaters go by as the boats go by. We're going to turn this into, I don't know, Nice. I don't know, the French Riviera. I don't know what we're going to, these people are crazy, man. This is a blue collar city. You're not going to change Pittsburgh into Newton. It's a blue collar town. These are blue collar towns. The best thing we could have ever done with that waterfront is create a deep water port, because we have one of the deepest water on that area. But we don't want to create jobs for people, because those are jobs that actually Fall River people could get. Stevedores, unloading boats, and they make good money. New Bedford's got a pretty good working port. Fishing mostly, but they have other things on that port. But again, all they do in Fall River is promise we're going to become Newton. And I don't know how anybody can believe that, but what you've done in recent years is stay home. 10,000 people in the last 2 elections? 10,000? That's like 20% of the registered, less than 20% of the registered voters.
And the Board of Elections thinks it's a good turnout.
You can't let 15% of the people control your destiny. What is wrong with you? Get out and vote. The only way we're going to fix this is by throwing these people out. They don't work for us. They work for the developers. They work for the political. They get for the political machines. They do not work for you. There's only one person on that council who consistently has advocated for the people of Fall River. That's Michelle Dion. You answer this question to me. Is the city council doing their job by allowing Paul Coogan to ignore their resolution to stop picking up private trash that we're paying for the disposal of? They just forgot about it. Paul said, you know what, finger, I'm not doing it. Just like I'm giving my chief of staff and all my staff a pay raise, even though you did not authorize it, which is a violation of the law. Yet our city council that is sworn to uphold the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts just said, okay, Paul, you don't want to obey the law, that's okay. We're not going to argue with you anymore. Maybe we'll get a favor from you if we stop trying to make you do the right thing. They don't belong in those seats. It's that simple.
It's always very interesting to see. Remember, because Paul ran on there'll be no corruption. I'm going to follow the law. I'm going to follow the charter. I'm going to make sure that we run everything legally and by the book. And guess what? Didn't happen. It's still not happening. And the people don't understand. And then when people turn around and say to me, oh, but he's an excellent mayor, I'm like, how is he an excellent mayor? Show me how he's an excellent mayor. Give me one good thing he's done. Well, he gave masks out during the pandemic. Big deal. So did a lot of other people. He set up vaccination clinics. So what? So did a lot of other cities. He didn't pay for those. The state did. And the federal government did. Why do you think they happened? They didn't happen because, Paul Coogan said they're going to happen, so they're going to happen. No, they happened because the state and federal government turned around and said, here's the money, here's the vaccines, make it happen. And people just don't understand. This had nothing to do with Paul. Here's Paul's accomplishments, according to him. Okay? These are his accomplishments. He invested in new equipment and increased staffing for police, fire, and emergency medical services. Yet they're still understaffed and they're still in arbitration. Supported economic development projects ranging from small business improvement grants to revitalization of Fall River's waterfront. Many mayors have worked on revitalizing the Fall River waterfront. And like them, you're going to take a part in it, and it may fail, it may succeed, we don't know. But which small businesses got improvement grants? Which small businesses got ARPA money? I don't know. Because the next accomplishment was utilize ARPA stimulus funds to stabilize city finances and save taxpayer money. I have yet to see a dime that I've saved in taxpayer dollars. Combined public and private investments to increase Fall River's housing stock from affordable housing for veterans to large mill renovations. I haven't seen a lot of affordable housing. Not 2 units here, 2 units there is not a lot of units. Okay. And yes, there has been a lot of renovations, but that's from HDIP, not from Cooganite, not from Coogan Dip. Okay? And then completed and planned citywide infrastructure improvements to parks, streets, and sidewalks, which happens every year in Fall River. No matter who the mayor is, that's what happens. So again, Paul's done nothing new for Fall River that any other politician in the mayor's office hasn't done in the past. The only difference is we're in a shitty financial condition now, and we'll be in a shitty financial condition when he leaves. And that's what's going to happen.
Well, let me just get back to one of the things you said. If you actually engage that individual, said he's an excellent mayor because he gave out masks. My follow-up question to that individual was, which one of your family has a job that he gave them? Because it's not the mayor's job to give out masks. It's not the mayor's job to do things that somebody else should be doing. He is the chief executive officer of the city of Fall River. It's his job to come up with plans to make this city safer, to make our schools actually perform. He spent his life in the school system, and it's always been abysmal since he's been there. 335th it was ranked out of 351 cities and towns. We saw the top 100. We're nowhere near that. That's what the mayor's job is. It wasn't Dwight D. Eisenhower's job to land on the beach. That were the brave men who did that on D-Day. It was Dwight Eisenhower's job to be on the battleship running the battle, creating the tactics and strategy to be successful. It's a mayor's job to make plans, devise strategies and tactics to make this a better city, not hand out masks, give out parades and show movies. If you're saying that, you're either one of the you're one of the amoebas, or you're politically connected. I cannot believe anybody can say that's what his claim to fame is. He gave out masks. He created. Everybody had to create. People, people made millions on those testing sites and vaccination sites. I know personally some people that it's alleged that they made nearly $1 million running those things. And those people got those things because they were connected. Don't give me this crap. He's never had a plan. Look down the road to New Bedford. Look at what Mitchell's done. $27 million in ARPA money for affordable housing after he's already invested in affordable housing already and made it a priority. Paul Coogan's the only mayor in the state of Massachusetts that ignores the affordable housing. At least they acknowledge it. And I just read that article about it. But they love the HDIP program that doesn't work, just like they love TIFs that we said years ago. We showed the study from two of the most prestigious universities in this nation that they have a long-range negative impact and a short-term negative impact on a taxpayer. So, this is all election hyperbole. He has done nothing but hide from every major issue that this city has faced in the 4 years he's been mayor. He does not deserve another term. Like I said, he said, we can't afford to save the Armory. I again say, we can't afford to have Paul Coogan as mayor.
No argument from me at all. None whatsoever. Something that came up, which I have to talk about before we sign off. I read on social media, and there was a big discussion about the purple bags and the trash fee. And according to the poster, who shall remain anonymous because that's the way they wanted it, they said that Sam was going to bring back the purple bags and the trash fee. Now, you and I had a conversation with Sam about the trash fee, which he said was a big mistake that he made in his office because he was listening to the wrong people. And he has said that he's not going to look at trash fees and he's not going to look at the purple bags. But if you remember, when Mary Sahadi was the chief financial officer and was acting city administrator at the same time, she brought up in a city council meeting that Paul was looking at the trash fee and the purple bags. Why? Because we had a financial crisis, which was solved because we got ARPA money. Had we not received that ARPA money, we'd be having trash fees and bags right now, I'm sure. So think about that. And Paul, just so you know, Sam has made a promise to the people that there will be no trash fee and no purple bag. So we haven't heard that promise from you, although we have heard you say there's going to be no bags, no trash fees. So it makes it very interesting that you know this. So, yeah, he does need to go. Thank you for supporting us. Remember that people control the government, and you do it in your ballot box. I want to thank you all for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. You have a great weekend, and by the way, we will see you on Monday on the holiday for the first time in a long time. So thanks for watching, and have a good weekend.
And Paul said at the council he was going to bring back the trash fee. We have the video.
There you go. Have a great weekend.